Welcome to CE Ag Talks, the video series from CE Ag World, a media site devoted to the business of growing food undercover, including greenhouse produce, vertical farms, and outdoor protected crops. On this episode of CE Ag Talks, we're welcoming James Staniszewski, aka Mr. Fungitarian. He is the co-owner of Windy City Mushroom in Chicago, Illinois, and founder of Fungitarian Lifestyle. James, thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, Dana, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Mushrooms are a really important part of our food system. I personally think that they're kind of slept on in the CEA space.
Preaching to the choir, Dan.
Yeah. I especially after looking at data from the most recent USDA Census of Agriculture, mushrooms only accounted for 7% of food operations growing undercover, but they accounted for 57% of scales. So that's a pretty big number. Were you surprised to see that?
No, Dana. These numbers don't surprise me whatsoever. I've been saying it from the rooftops that mushrooms are one of the most efficient growing, high profitable crops that you could possibly grow. And I don't know if it was the same study that you just said or not, but right before I went on Indoor Ag and gave my speech, I ran into a gentleman who was like, "Hey, did you see the USDA study that showed that mushrooms are the most profitable crop per square foot?" And I was like, "Oh, you don't say." So I'm glad that we have the data to confirm it now. But no, really no surprise there. I just think it's a surprise to everybody who has been sleeping on it, for sure.
You first co-founded your company in 2022. How has your mushroom operation grown in that time?
Well, actually, it was 2021.
Okay.
That's okay. It's grown dramatically. We bit off way more than we could chew because we didn't. We knew that we were certain that this many people were going to eat this many mushrooms. And so we got 50,000 square feet when we couldn't fill it or use it. But we had half the facility for production and half of it for growing. And so over this course of this time, we have grown dramatically. So we started with 25 containers and we now have 75 8-foot by 20-foot shipping containers vertically stacked on top of each other. 50 of those units are rolling steady. And from that point on, we've added 6 more employees. We've also ended up with this was in the process of creating the Fungitarian food line, because my focus within any of these businesses is realizing that you can make gold off of your trash. And so just because it's not pretty enough doesn't mean it's not edible. And so we were able to create a food line of just mushrooms that didn't make the cut for the grocery store or was just trim, and turn that into a non-perishable food item. So we have scaled and grown rapidly in these 3 years, dead set on the culture's ability to consume this many mushrooms. And that was really the biggest turn of events was back in 2024 when we were nearly going to go out of business, and then landed the contract with Smallhold and Whole Foods that essentially saved our entire business. And then that month later, we then hit another 150 grocery stores. And from that moment, it went from, 30 stores to 250 in about a 6-week period. And so from there, we've had to learn how to be this production facility and not just be a brand, not just be at farmers markets. And so really, there's a big shift happening at Windy City.
Now, I know you have some pretty big plans for expansion for Windy City over the next few years. Can you elaborate on those a little bit?
Yeah, so the biggest expansion was getting the 40-foot autoclave that we now have, and it was putting in the last 25 containers. So now that we're set with the actual ability to produce those blocks, we are putting the last 25 containers online. They're in construction phase right now. So we will add all of those bags back into production and increase about 10,000 pounds a month. And so from that point on, there's actually no space left in the entire facility. And so then our mission is truly complete. And really, that'll be our last boost. And so at end all be all, we'll be at about 35,000 pounds a month of gourmet mushrooms.
Well, James, those are the main questions that I had for you. But is there anything else you would like our audience to know about either CEA mushrooms or anything else that you have planned?
I would say be ready to start seeing mushrooms on more grocery stores and start seeing more mushrooms grown in the United States. Be ready for a lot of these conventions next year that mushrooms are going to be a main topic, and to tell everyone to go out there and educate themselves. Don't just listen to me, all the information is out there, and realize that you could be putting a superfood in your body that's going to help eradicate cancer and many other diseases just by consuming them. And try to incorporate as many mushrooms as you can into your diet, into your lifestyle, and I think you're going to flourish.
Awesome. Well, thank you again for taking some time out of your day to speak with me, and I'm sure we'll talk again sometime soon.
Absolutely, Dana. Thank you so much. Pleasure.
Awesome. Well, thank you again, Cole, and I'm sure we'll talk again sometime soon.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Anna.